All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. I want to give, like you, I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of the Great Millstone for teaching me the truth, 100% securely. And I'd like to give a salutation to the Akim and Aqua for listening and studying to sort ourselves approved. Okay, so the title of this lesson is pretty much going to be knowing the time, all right? And so this pretty much a quick lesson that I wanted to go into about the twin brothers that were found dead on a mountain in the state of Georgia, right? And so, and that's why it's important to know the time. I mean, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua is definitely bringing that judgment out, especially on the house of Israel. Okay, and so it was a lot that just happened within the past week, and yeah, man. So it's just the time. It's just you just gotta know the time. You gotta know what time it is, and if you don't, you can end up just like these twin brothers right here. If you're not in a house of mourning, as the scripture said, you pretty much can not be sober. It's a lot of things that take place, but ultimately, you know. Having your foot or having your mind on Yahweh Shem Yahushua at all times is the best route to go, especially in the last days, all right? And so, I'm going to play a little bit of this video, but first let's get, which we bring these scriptures out all the time, we probably sound like a broken record, but hey, you got to get your word out, man. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And really, I'm gonna read verse 1 because it said, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." Right. So everything have a time and a place. Right. And so when you read on, it says a time to be born and a time to die and a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Right. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. Right. So this is words of wisdom, words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to let you know how to operate, basically being aware of your surroundings. Matter of fact, when you read 1 Peter 5 and 8, which we actually go ahead and get that real quick and pull this up in the Blue Letter Bible, which is one of my favorite precepts. First Peter chapter 5 and verse 8, right? Because it says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil as a roaring lion walking about seeking whom he may devour." All right. And then that word sober, when you read this, look, in NLT, it breaks down the word sober. It says, "Stay alert. Watch out for your great enemy, the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." All right. And so that word staying alert, which pretty much goes into, be level-headed, level-minded, right? A lot of Christians say take this verse and they say to be exempt of drugs and alcohol, but it's more to that than just drugs and alcohol. All right. Okay. Right here, Greek word
Strong's G 3525. NAPHO.
Okay, NAPO, it said to be sober, to be calm and collected in spirit. All right, and that's what it boils down to: be calm and collected in spirit. All right, be level-headed, to be temperate, dispassionate, circumspect. Strong definition: it says uncertain affinity to abstain from wine, keep sober, i.e., figuratively be discreet, be sober, watch. Okay, and it goes into and it said be vigilant. So like let me go back to that real quick.
Strong's G 1127. Gregareo.
It says to watch. Metaphor gives strict attention to, be cautious, active. All right. Take heed lest through remission and indolence some destructive calamity suddenly overtake one. All right. And so those are the two instructions that Apostle Peter said in 1 Peter 5:8. He said, be sober and be vigilant. Okay, be sober again, to be to be calm and collected in spirit. That's what he meant by being sober. Okay, and be vigilant mean to watch. All right, so with that being said, you gotta have you gotta know what time it is. You have to, within the times we're living in, you have to remain calm, collected in spirit, and you have to watch, knowing the time that you're in. Okay, so you're going back to this Ecclesiastes 3:1. Okay, depending on your situation, right? Because it's in verse 4, it says a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. All right, you're not gonna, you know, laugh at a place where it's something that's not funny, like when somebody fall and they're in a car accident. Okay, you see a car accident happen, that's not a time to laugh. That's gonna be a time more likely to weep. Okay, or to mourn, right? Okay, you're not gonna be sad in a place where you go like for a dance hall or something like that, or amusement park. Okay, you're gonna more than likely dance. You're gonna do things that's exciting. Okay, so this is what it means, knowing the time. All right, and right now, the time that we're in America, aka Babylon the Great, is we're heading to destruction. Jacob's trouble is on the way. You got World War III. Okay. Reading on in verse 5, it says, a time to cast away stone, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rant and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Okay? And so a time of war is where we at. All right. And so that's why it's important to be sober, be vigilant. All right. You need to be in the house of mourning. So we go get that in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 2. Okay, because it says, it is better to go into the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to heart. It says, sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. Okay. Verse 4, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fool is in the house of mirth. Okay. And so that's pretty much the point right there. When you're in the house of mirth, you pretty much can get caught up. You're not expected. When you're in the house of mirth and while you're in a sundown town, then ultimately you're not going to be sober. You're not going to pay attention to your enemy. Okay, and that's pretty much what happened to these Jakes right here. The details is not necessarily clear on how they ended up in the mountain, but they was according to the report, they was taking a plane ticket to go to Boston. All right, and that's pretty much the house of mirth. They were supposed to be visiting friends or something like that. All right, so I'm gonna play a little bit of this. This is fair use. All right, it's not anything I'm getting monetary gain for. This is just fair use, for edification purposes. All right, so we're gonna play a little bit, and then we get some more scripture and close this out.
Well, that wasn't true. Family says the twins had a 7 a.m. flight to Boston last Friday. Right there, we never heard from them. They missed their flight. We don't know what happened. 24 hours later, the twins' body found 90 miles away. How they end out in the mountains, they don't hike out there. They've never even been out there. They don't know nothing about Hiwassee, Georgia. They never even heard of Bell Mountains. So how did they end up right there? A mystery this family is trying to solve.
They had a huge support system. We know that they wouldn't do anything like this. So to say that they did this to each other when they come from a family of love, they love each other, they always together, We don't believe that. They didn't do this to each other. Something happened in those mountains, and we want answers.
And look, I told y'all on this channel, we hold racist Caucasian people accountable, because if the tables would turn, if you had two Caucasian twins that was unalived in a black town, they would hold us accountable. Matter of fact, they would come over and destroy our town. We have the proof. We have the history. Look.
And that's matter of fact, when he started speaking, I immediately thought about that when he said if there were two white twins, you know, they would burn down the town or so on and so forth. Let's get this real quick. In Psalm chapter 73, and probably about the 5th verse, right? Right. So this is Psalm 73, and verse 5 will be the point. But we start at verse 3, okay? Because this is King David, right? And you know, another one of King David's prayers, right? Because it says, we start at verse 1. It says, "Truly Yahweh Shem Yahushai is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone, my step had well nigh slipped." Okay? And he gonna explain why in the next verse. He said, "For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked." Okay? And so this is none other than Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the prosperity of the wicked. Meaning that King David saw this, and he looking like, man, they doing all manner of wicked. They breaking Yahweh Shem Yahushua's law and so on and so forth, and they prospering off of it. Okay? And so this is why he said he's buried now slipped. Okay? All right, verse 4, and he said, "For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men." Right? And so this is them, right? Because when he described, you know, if it was a so-called white twin, they would burn the whole town, and he brought up, you know, of course, Black Wall Street and so on and so forth, which is pretty much these devils, okay? Esau Edom, so-called white man. And so they being exposed every single day, man. And so that's what that page is about right here. All right, so let's go back into the video.
Look, Tulsa Massacre. How you think that was created? How you think
and another thing, man, when they call it the Tulsa Massacre, this is you know, a little bit of tidbit of information is that the lawyers changed the name to Tulsa Massacre just so they can try to get a lawsuit, basically try to get reparation for the families, okay? And so really it was called Tulsa Race Riot, okay? They changed it from Race Riot to Massacre, okay? Because during that time, so the so-called black at that time, they actually fought back. All right, they didn't allow these damn devils to come through and, you know, hang or whatever. So that's another precept, who shall rise Judah. All right, so that I just wanted to let you know that, because that, you know, when they called it a massacre, it made it sound like, you know, the black didn't fight back and the Esau just ran through right off top. All right.
Destroyed that? Why you think they destroyed that? Because of a lie from a Caucasian person. Lake Lanier. How you think that happened? How you think that turned to a lake? How you think a black town turned into a lake? It was because of a lie of a Caucasian person. So all I'm saying is keep that same energy, boy. And I'm going to be honest, as a truck driver, once you step on those back roads in this country, you are going back to the 1950s. So that's why I wish I knew those twins, because in Georgia, I would tell them, the Lyft driver, the Uber driver, don't trust them, because in this country, they are stealing organs from our people. But we'll get to that later on in this video. In the meantime, let's get into this article
and that's what he said right there. That's probably how these the twin, you know, whatever he said, you know, he just gave a little bit more information out there. He said, don't trust these Uber drivers and, you know, the Lyft drivers and stuff like that. So, you know, that's the possibility that's how they ended up out there, because it's still unclear on how they ended up in the mountains when they had a plane ticket. So just speculation based off what this guy said. You know, they missed their flight, so they probably took an Uber or Lyft just to get to their flight. And you know, one of these Edomites picked him up and they drove him a different direction. You know that could have been the case. We don't know, but you know, it's just one of these situations, man. You got to be sober, and that's why we always say it's better to be in the house of mourning, okay, than the house of feasting. All right. And so let's get a few more precepts, man, because the time that we're in is basically we're heading to the destruction of America, aka Babylon the Great, man. All right. And so, 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 1, he said, he answered me, then said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Okay? The so-called Negroes, Latino, Native American, if you're not in that spirit of repentance, Yahweh Yahushua, he's coming and he's visiting and he's doing a clean house. Okay? And, you know, what they, you know, of course, every time when somebody of the so-called black community, they die, they always make it sound like these people were innocent or so on and so forth. But in the eyes of the Lord, let's get this real quick. Ain't nobody innocent, okay? In Job chapter 4, we'll read verse 7. And it says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where was the righteous cut off? And it says, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. And it said, verse 9, it said, by the blast of Yahweh Yahushua they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils they are consumed. All right? And so, we don't know what those twins was up to. We still ain't got enough. Matter of fact, I got an article. Let's go. Let's get this article. Oh, I got it pulled up already. Right here in this article, they said it was a firefighter. Because another thing about the information is that a firefighter charged after he accused of sharing photos of twin brothers found dead on a Georgia mountain. And all right, and this is another thing why, you know, this is further proving that Esau Edom is the damn devil, okay? Because you know who the firefighter is, the damn Edomite, all right, the so-called white man. Authorities say, reading on in the article, the authorities say additional testing is needed to determine the cause and manner of death of 19-year-old twin brother Qadar Malik Lewis and Nazar Rahim Lewis, all right? And it says, a volunteer firefighter has been charged with obstructing, accused of taking photos of teenagers' twin brother found dead with gunshot wound on a Georgia mountain this month. And it says Scott Curlin, 42, of Hiwassee, Georgia, was charged with misdemeanor obstruction after he was accused of taking photos of the bodies of 19-year-old twin brother Qadar Malik Lewis and Nazar Rahim Lewis and sharing them publicly. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation announced Tuesday. Hikers found the body of the team who are from Lawrenceville at the top of Bell Mountain in Hiwassee the morning of Saturday, March 8th. The mountain is about 90 miles from their home. And it says authorities have said the deaths are murder-suicides. Okay, so that's another thing. They ruled it as a murder-suicide. All right, and it said according to a preliminary investigation, however, the Lewis family have vehemently disputed that claim, saying the boys were inseparable, never got into fistfights, and were not familiar with Bell Mountain. How they end up out in the mountain? They don't hike out there. They never been out there. Samara Bonner previously told NBC affiliate of Atlanta they don't know anything about Hiwassee, Georgia. They never even heard of Bell Mountain. So how did they end up up right there? It is not clear exactly how Curlin, a volunteer firefighter in Town County, shared photos of the scene. And it says Town County School Superintendent Darren Barong said it was shared among students. Okay? Showing you these damn devils, man. So that right there, it was because I immediately thought about how these damn devils, when they hung our ancestors, they basically had a picnic. That's what they reminded me of when he took the photos and shared it with the students. All right, and so reading on, and it said the district launched an investigation and took appropriate measures to ensure the photos was no longer in the possession of any student. The students involved were unaware of the illegal nature of how the photo was distributed, he said. And that's bullshit too. And they said autopsy were completed, but an official ruling on the cause or manner of death is pending addition forensic testing. Samara Bonner, the twins' aunt, said she is terrified to go online in fear of seeing the photos. Okay, and it says this is basically their opinion, but you see how diabolical these devils are, man. Okay, and so this is why we patiently waiting on the pretty much the end of this kingdom. Okay, but this is basically just further showing the time that we're living in, man. Cause we read 2 Timothy 3:1, right? Oh, Salakia's yeah, I put 1 Timothy. I meant 2 Timothy 3:1, because it says, knowing this also, in the last days perilous time shall come. Okay? And when you go into that word perilous, it means basically hard to bear. Okay, and that's pretty much what you're seeing, and the mothers and the families of the victim of the twin, they're going through their perilous time. They going through something that's hard to bear. They lost members of their family, and it's pretty much hard to bear, and that's the time we're living in, man. And judgment from Yahweh Shai is going to continue. All right, America, aka Babylon the Great, is on the brink of destruction. So it's better to be in a house of mourning. Okay, it's better to be in the spirit of repentance. Okay, because you can very well be next. It could very well be you, man. So I'm gonna finish this off with Psalms. Go back into Psalms real quick. I just wanted to bring this out, man. It's just like a quick report. Pretty much to just stay vigilant and just knowing the time that we're living in, man. Continue knowing the time that we're living in. All right, so and this is pretty much going into so I'm gonna read Psalm 73:5 again, right? Because it said, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Okay, because they're gonna try to prolong the case, and it's probably gonna be like 2 years before they even judge it properly. Because I'm pretty sure they got the correct evidence, but they said the fireman obstructed the evidence, so he messed up the evidence, so they can't get a clear picture, whatever the case might be, and they all in cahoots together. All right. Verse 6, and it said, therefore pride compassed them about as a chain, violence covered them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fattening, they have more than heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression, they speak lawfully. And it said, they set their mouth against the heaven and their tongue walk through the earth. Okay, these damn devils, they think they can get away with just about anything in this state society. All right, so going down into verse 17, jumping to verse 17, this is pretty much the fate of Esau Edom. All right, because when you go in the beginning of the chapter, King David said he almost slipped and he almost envied the oppressor. Okay, but right here in verse 17, and he said, until I went to the sanctuary of Yahweh and understood their end. Okay, these devils' kingdom is falling and they coming to an end. Okay, right now they're being exposed for who they are, the devil in the flesh. Okay, verse 18, surely thou didst set them in a slippery place, thou cast them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation, as in a moment they are utterly consumed with terror? As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I and ignorant I was as a beast before thee. Nevertheless, I am continually with thee. Thou hast holden me by my right hand. Thou shalt guide me with thy counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. Okay? And so, that's pretty much the point right there, man. These damn devils, they killed those twin brothers, but that's judgment from Yahweh to me outside. Okay? And that should give you a forewarning to keep the faith and keep pushing, keep calling on Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, because being in the house of mourning is a better place to be, especially in this time, okay? Because it ain't no time to be out trying to party or, get your bag like all of these 2/3 is trying to do or trying to push out on the internet, okay? Or doing stuff for the community, just like what IUIC has been saying here lately, all right? It's the time to be in the house of mourning, okay? So, this is pretty much knowing the time, all right? So, Lord willing, this is edifying. And with that, we give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth 100% securely. Shalom, Shalom, Kwam Yashavala, Shalom.